Greetings. This is Let's Build, where I build a LEGO set and time my build along with matching media. How many films, shows, or games will it take to complete the set? To find out, let's build. Today's build is Horizon Forbidden West Tallneck. Spoiler warnings: if you have not played Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West, I will be discussing the story and plot elements as well as gameplay, so if you want to uncover those things on your own, go back and play the games, and then come back here. For everyone else, let's build. Today's build is the Tallneck from Horizon. The LEGO box does say Forbidden West, however, I will be playing Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game in the series, because that is the first time that we witness the Tallnecks. The world of Horizon. 1,000 years after a global cataclysm, Earth has been remade into a lush, thriving ecosystem, but with new dominant species, the machines. These massive, animal-like robots fill the lands, oceans, and skies, serving as the giants and guardians and enforcers of the revived natural order. Millions of fans have fought against, destroyed, and defeated machines in Horizon Zero Dawn and now Horizon Forbidden West. But what is it like to build one? The machines. The people of Horizon look upon the machines with wonder and awe. Overall, they appear to be the preservers and protectors of the natural world. Humans live with them in an uneasy balance, hunting some for metal and ammunition, fighting others that encroach upon the settlements. But a few of these metal giants are so majestic and powerful that no one dares to go near them. The Tallneck. Oblivious to interruption and impervious to attack, these giants circle wide areas, monitoring local conditions. Their massive disc-like heads contain communication hubs that send out signals to the other machines. While completely peaceful, they are often guarded by packs of sentries and combat units. This display model showcases the beautiful and dangerous world of Horizon with the majestic Tallneck, a vigilant watcher, and alloy. The disc. A new building techniques formed the clean circle shape and solid structure. It is the most complex assembly of the set, and the most fun. The neck. The basic armor plate pattern is almost identical to our first LEGO sketch model. The neck structure, however, was significantly altered to mimic the mechanical details. Body and legs. Sideways building captures the right angles and curves. The feet. Carefully designed to get the right shape, the feet also connect well with the base. The display base. Includes tall grass where alloy can hide to avoid the watcher. Alloy. Armed with a powerful high-tech spear and ancient device that can decipher digital data, Alloy is the greatest machine hunter of her age. A hero known to all tribes, she has defended them against deadly machines, infamous cults, vengeful insurgents, and dangers from ancient past. The minifig details one of her signature outfits, with her focus incorporated into the hair element. And that is all the information that is inside the LEGO instruction manual detailing this set. Horizon Zero Dawn is an action role-playing game played from a third-person view. Players take control of Alloy, a hunter who ventures through post-apocalyptic land ruled by robotic creatures. Alloy can kill enemies in a variety of ways. shooting them with arrows, setting traps such as tripwires, or using a trip caster, using explosives, and a spear. Machine components, including electricity and the metal they are composed of, are vital to Aloy's survival. She can loot their remains for crafting resources. Ammo, resource satchels, pouches, quivers, resistance, antidotes, health potions, and traps can all be crafted. Weapons have modification slots for dealing with more damage. Aloy wears a focus, a small earpiece that scans machines to determine their susceptibilities, identify their location, their level, and nature of loot they will drop. One machine, the Stalker, can enable dark cloaking technology to avert the gaze of Aloy's focus scan. Machines attack with defensive and offensive measures, and in either case react to a perceived threat by charging at it with brute force or projectiles. Exhibiting the behavior of wild animals, some machines are inclined to move in herds, and others with the abilities to fly, and do so in flocks. Unless hacked with the override tool or sufficiently hit with corruption arrows, machines do not exert aggressive force against each other. Aloy also engages in battles with human enemies, such as bandits and the Eclipse Cult. Aloy can dodge, sprint, slide, or roll to evade her enemies' advances. Hiding in foliage to ambush nearby enemies can ensure immediate takedowns. Swimming may reach enemies stealthily or places otherwise unreachable on foot. She is able to hack a selection of machines with override tool, some of which can be turned into makeshift mounts. Explorable ruins called cauldrons unlock additional machines to override. The skill tree has 3 categories. Prowler concerns stealth, Brave improves combat, and Forager increases healing and gathering capabilities. Upgrades in each category result in more adept use of the skills learned, with Prowler leading to silent takedowns, Brave to aiming a bow in slow motion, and Forager to enlarged machine pouch. Aloy attains experience points from individual kills and completing quests. The Frozen Wilds added Traveler, which unlocks the ability to jump off a mount to attack enemies. The game has seamless open world with day-night cycle and dynamic weather system. The map is composed of forest, jungle, desert, and snowy mountain regions. Mountainous terrain is traversed with the employment of a parkour. Mountainous terrain is traversed with the employment of parkour and aided by the use of zip lines. Corrupted zones constitute areas that heighten difficulty and are populated by corrupted machines that behave with more aggression. To uncover more of the map, Aloy must scale large giraffe-like machines known as Tallnecks, and that uncovers more of the map. Save points and fast travel can be accessed by interacting with campfires once discovered. The quest structure unfolds to accommodate the exploration of tribes, while the main story covers the entire world. Side quests involve Aloy completing tasks like gathering materials, coming to the aid of individuals in danger of being killed, solving mysteries, assuming control of bandit camps, eliminating criminals and more difficult machines, accomplishing various challenges at any of the 5 hunting grounds, and obtaining an ancient armor that makes Aloy almost impervious to damage. A dialogue wheel is used to communicate with non-player characters. Collectibles include vantages that would offer visual information of the old world, metal flowers that contain poetry, and old relics such as ancient mugs and tribal artifacts. The story is set in a post-apocalyptic. The story is set in an. The story is set in a. Okay. The story is set in a post apocalyptic United States between the states of Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah in the 31st century. Humans live in scattered, primitive tribes with varying levels of technological development. Their technology advan- their technologically advanced predecessors are remembered as the Old Ones. Large robotic machines dominate the Earth. For the most part, they peacefully coexist with humans, who occasionally hunt them for parts. However, a phenomenon known as the derangement has caused machines to become more aggressive toward humans, and larger and deadlier machines have begun to appear. Four tribes are permanently featured. Four tribes are prominently featured: the Nora, the Banuk, the Karja, and the Asuram. The Nora are fierce matriarchal hunter-gatherers who live in the mountains and worship their deity, the All-Mother. The Karja are an emperor. The Karja are an empire of desert-dwelling city builders who worship the sun. The Banuk consists of wandering clans made up of hunters and shamans who live in snowy mountains. Also, Wyoming's national park, Yellowstone. Wyoming's Yellowstone National Park, and worship the blue light of machines. The Asaram are tinkerers and salvagers known for their advanced weapons, metalworking, brewing, and a talent as warriors. Aloy is cast out from the Nora tribe at birth and raised by fellow outcast Rost. As a child, Aloy obtains a focus, an augmented reality device that gives her special perceived abilities. Aloy becomes curious about her origins and is told by Rost that if she wins the Proving, a competition to earn the right to become a member of the Nora, the tribe's matriarchs might concede this information. Aloy spends some years training in combat and survival under Rost's instruction. After becoming of age, Aloy participates in the Proving. She wins the competition, but masked cultists attack the Nora. Rost sacrifices himself to save Aloy from their leader, Helis. When Aloy awakens, the matriarchs explain that Aloy was found as an infant before a sealed door within the Nora's sacred mountain, and that these suspicious origins were the reason for her being an outcast. The matriarchs name Aloy a seeker, allowing her to leave their lands in pursuit of the cultists. Aloy eventually learns that cultists are part of a splinter Karja faction known as the Eclipse, and that Aloy was targeted due to her resemblance of an old world scientist named Elizabeth Sobek. Aloy locates the ruined corporate campus of Faro Automated Solutions and discovers that the old world was destroyed nearly 1,000 years ago after Faro lost control of his automated peacekeeper military robots. The robots, which could self-replicate and consume biomass, overran the planet and engulfed the biosphere, stripping the Earth of life. Zero Dawn, a project spearheaded by Sobek, was initiated to create an automated terraforming system to deactivate the robots and restore life to Earth. Aloy is contacted by Silence, a secretive Banuk figure interested in uncovering the fate of the Old Ones. Aloy learns that Sobek was sent to a decommissioned orbital launch base to complete Zero Dawn, located under the Citadel, the center of the Eclipse power. Inside the base, Aloy learns that Zero Dawn was a vast underground system of databases, factories, and cloning facilities controlled by a single artificial intelligence, Gaia, and her subsystems. Once all life had been extinguished, Gaia developed a countermeasure to deactivate the Faro robots and build her own animalistic machines to restore the Earth's biosphere. Once the planet was inhabitable again, Gaia's next goal was to reseed life on Earth based on stored DNA and teach the first human clones not to repeat their predecessors' mistakes. However, Pharaoh's founder and CEO, Theodore Pharaoh, sabotaged Apollo, the subsystem designed to teach humanity. The new generation of humans was reduced to a tribal subsistence society. The Eclipse are secretly controlled by Hades, another of Gaia's subsystems designed to enact controlled extinction if the outcome of Zero Dawn was not favorable for human existence. Reaching Sobek's office, Aloy obtains a registry to give her access to the door beneath Nora's mountain. She is captured by Helis and sentenced to death at the Citadel, but escapes with the help of Silence. Aloy helps the Nora fight off the Eclipse and unlocks the mountain's door. She finds a recording from Gaia, revealing that a signal of unknown origin caused Hades to activate and seize control of her functions. As a last resort, Gaia self-destructed to stop Hades, but failed and lost control of the other subsystems. Without Gaia to maintain the terraforming process, the entire system began to break down, leading to the derangement. As a contingency plan, Gaia created a clone of Sobek in the form of Aloy, hoping she would find Gaia's message, destroy Hades, and restore Gaia's functions. Aloy learns that Sobek sacrificed her life to ensure the Pharaoh robots could not find Gaia. Aloy manages to obtain the Master Override to destroy Hades. Silence reveals that he founded the Eclipse, initially tempted by Hades' promise to knowledge when he discovered it. They surmise that Hades intends to send a signal to reactivate the Pharaoh robots to extinguish life on Earth. Aloy kills Helis and helps fight off the machines before stabbing Hades and activating the Master Override, ending the war. She journeys to Sobek's old home, finds her corpse, and mourns her predecessor. In a post-credits scene, Hades is trapped by Silence, who intends to interrogate Hades to find out who sent the signal that had activated it. In the additional content, Frozen Wild, Aloy travels to The Cut, the home of the Banuk tribe, after hearing of word of dangerous machines appearing and the mountain belching smoke. She learns from Aratak, the chieftain of the largest Banuk. Banuk clan, that the Banuk have been attempting to battle a daemon on the mountain, Thunder's Drum, which has corrupted the machines of the Cut. However, their first attack failed, and their shaman, Aura, disappeared afterward. Aloy searches for Aurea, coming across strange robotic towers that control and repair the corrupted machines. She finds Aurea and in an old world facility that had been converted into a Banuk shrine and is housing an artificial intelligence the shaman calls the Spirit. Aloy is able to make contact with the Spirit, which warns Aurea that the daemon is blocking its transmissions before being cut off. Aloy and Aurea agree to work together to save the Spirit. Per Aurea's advice, Aloy defeats Aratak in a hunting competition, taking his place as chieftain. She also discovers that Aratak and Aurea are siblings. Aloy, Aurea, and Aratak head for Thunder's Drum. They infiltrate the old world facility built inside the mountain, where Aloy discovers that the Spirit is actually Cyan, a highly advanced AI designed to prevent the Yellowstone caldera from erupting. Traveling further inside, they discover that the daemon has already overtaken so much of the facility. However, Cyan suggests using lava from the caldera to destroy the infected areas while preserving the facility. It is also revealed that Daemon is in fact Hephaestus, another of Gaia's subsystems designed to manufacture machines. The group fights through Hephaestus' defense, and Aurea sacrifices herself to override Cyan's core, allowing it to escape. Cyan transfers its core systems to an auxiliary data center and initiates self-destruction of the facility. Aloy and Aratak narrowly escape. Aloy returns to the Banuk shrine where Cyan is waiting. The AI provides additional information about the old world, but warns that Hephaestus is still active somewhere and will continue to build machines explicitly designed to kill humans, which is why it tries to seize control of Cyan and its facilities. Returning Aratak to his previous position as chieftain, Aloy departs the cut. Okay. The game's concept explores the juxtaposition between the danger and beauty of the world, particularly analyzing the concept of humanity not being the dominant species. The team aimed to emphasize the game's exploration element by featuring a quest system as well as including items throughout the world that can be used for craft or to replenish health. The team wished for the game to have simple interface. The team wished for the game to have a simple user interface design, specifically avoiding complicated menus for crafting, and considered the game to be a technical challenge. They felt that the game engine, which was designed for games such as the Killzone series, was difficult to alter for Horizon in terms of draw distance and loading. To discover how some of the game elements work differently in open world games, the team sought help from talent in that design, art, and technical fields. In extrapolating the game world, Guerrilla turned to anthropologists and researched the In extrapolating the game world, Guerrilla turned to anthropologists and researched the formation of tribal cultures as well as how building materials would decay over a millennium. The game's quest system and narrative design took inspiration from other role-playing video games. Okay. Ranging from the relaxed quest design of RPG Maker games to the strict quest design of hack and slash games. They refined relaxed quest design as having few centralized systems for managing quest progression, and strict quest design as having a rigid structure and predefined elements, which the team decided later. With which the team deciding the latter. Okay, we're gonna stop. Horizon Forbidden West is a 2022 action role-playing game developed by Guerrilla Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, the game is also set in a post-apocalyptic version of the western United States, recovering from the aftermath of an extinction event caused by a rogue robot swarm. The player, assuming control of Aloy, must venture into the Forbidden West to find the source of the mysterious plague that kills all it infects. The player can explore the open world and complete quests using ranged and melee weapons against machine creatures and hostile rebels. Forbidden West introduced a new gameplay mechanics to the franchise, such as new traversal tools, underwater exploration, and expanded melee combat. Guerrilla Games Okay. Horizon Forbidden West is a action RPG played from a third-person perspective set in a world populated by dangerous animalistic machines. The player controls Aloy, a hunter who ventures into an uncharted frontier known as the Forbidden West, a post-apocalyptic version of the western United States, to investigate a mysterious plague. Aloy's primary weapons of choice are bows and arrows. Other weapons in the game include Blast Sling, which allows Aloy to slingshot bombs toward enemies, and Shredder Gauntlet, which launches serrated discs useful for tearing armor and components. She can also lay down traps and tripwires and use Ropecaster to tether enemies to the ground, immobilizing them. Certain weapons in the game have different ammo types, allowing the player to inflict elemental damage on enemies. For instance, acid ammo may melt an opponent's armor, while shock ammo can stun enemies. Elemental damage can also be chained. For instance, purge water arrows may result in a drenched status for a machine, making them more vulnerable to shock arrows and stopping them from unleashing elemental attacks of their own. The elemental status of a machine will gradually accumulate, and the machine will be significantly affected or damaged by that elemental status for a brief period of time once a meter is completely filled. The player can use Aloy's focus to tag an enemy and scan them to identify their weaknesses. Aloy may also detach parts of the machines through her attacks, crippling a large amount of their health, removing their attack capabilities, and occasionally being able to use their own detached weapons against them. Melee combat is significantly expanded when compared with Zero Dawn. Aloy with her spear can now chain up her attacks with various types of combos. Stealth is also a viable tactic, as Aloy can hide in tall grass, distract unsuspecting enemies, and silently strike enemies without drawing attention. As player progresses in the game and completes various quests, they earn more experience points. With sufficient XP, Aloy's health will increase and skill points may be unlocked. Skill points can be spent on one of 6 skill tree targets for targeting different playstyles: Warrior, melee combat; Trapper, using traps; Hunter, ranged combat; Survivor, scavenging resources; Infiltrator, stealth; and Machine Master, overriding machines. By playing the game tactfully and by playing the game tactically, such as performing headshots against human enemies or tearing components off a machine, the player is granted additional combat points, ultimately enabling them to unleash Valor Surge, a powerful attack that inflicts a large amount of damage on enemies. Unlike its predecessor, Forbidden West is an open-world video game. The game offers 2 modes of exploration: guided mode highlights key items and locations of interest, while Explorer mode has more minimalistic user interface, requiring the player to reach locations with the help of a compass. Fast travel points can be accessed after discovering campfires in the wild, while visiting shelters enables the player to change the time of day. The player will meet different non-player characters and complete side quests for them. While conversing with other NPCs, the player can sometimes choose from one of 3 dialogue options, with each representing Aloy's tone and attitude towards a scenario or a character, though they will not affect the game's narrative. The player can identify locations of interest by ascending to the top of a Tallneck and overriding it. They also venture into cauldrons, which are often a series of platforming challenges accumulating in a boss fight. There are a large assortment of side activities the player can There are a large assortment of side activities the player can complete in Forbidden West, including finding collectibles such as survey drones and ancient black boxes, clearing rebel camps and outposts, completing salvage contracts and timed hunting challenges, competing in fight pits against humans or machines, and finding relics through solving environmental puzzles in ancient ruins. At major settlements, the player can also play in an in-game board game named Machine Strike. Aloy is an agile character, and her focus allows her to highlight climbable surfaces. As player progresses, they will unlock the polecaster, which can pull down obstacles. It also serves as a grappling hook, allowing the player to access difficult-to-reach areas. She will also unlock a diving mask, which allows underwater exploration, and a shield wing, which allows her to glide through the air, further aiding transversal. Completing cauldrons in the game allows the player to unlock machine overrides, enabling them to tame certain machines, use them as mounts to travel great distances, or turn them against other machines in combat. As the player explores the world, they will also collect various resources, such as medicinal berries to restore Aloy's health, and other crafting components necessary for expanding Aloy's inventory and upgrading weapons and outfits at workbenches. Both weapons and outfits are divided into different levels of rarity, with rarer weapons providing stronger perks. Ingredients can also be brought to a village chef who will cook a meal for Aloy to briefly improve her combat efficiency. While Aloy can only carry a limited amount of items in her inventory, extra items in the wilds will be directly transferred to a cache found in major outposts or settlements in the game. Accessing the cache allows Aloy to restock necessary items. Forbidden West continues the story of Aloy, a young hunter of the Nora tribe and a clone of the old world scientist Elizabeth Sobek, as she leads a band of companions on a quest to the frontier of the region known as the Forbidden West to find the source of a mysterious plague that kills all it infects. On her journey across these lands, Aloy encounters new regions ravaged by massive storms and deadly machines, and conflicts with a tribe of nomadic raiders, some of whom have tamed the machines as war mounts. She discovers a vast array of environments and ecosystems, including lush valleys, dry deserts, snowy mountains, tropical beaches, ruined cities, and underwater settlings. In the 6 months following the defeat of Hades, Aloy has been searching fruitlessly for a working backup of Gaia to restore the planet's rapidly degrading biosphere. After she discovers that her former associate Silence did not destroy, but stole Hades, he contacts Aloy and asks her to continue her search in the region known as the Forbidden West. Aloy and her friend Varl cross into the west to find ruling Tallneck tribe amidst a civil war between Chief Hikaru and the rebel leader Regala. Aloy tracks Silence to a facility where she finds Hades badly damaged and permanently deletes it. She recovers Gaia backup without its subsystems, but it is interrupted by a group of futuristic humans. The group, consisting of their leader, Gerard Berry, his lieutenant Tilda Vandermeer, enforcer Eric Visser, and a clone of Sobek named Beta, possesses advanced technology that renders them invulnerable. They take a second Gaia backup while Aloy barely escapes and passes out while Varl manages to find her. Aloy awakens days later in the village of Plainsong, home to the Otaru tribe. Zoe, a member of the Otaru, guides Aloy to a control center, where she joins with Gaia on her subsystem. and a clone of Sobek named Beta possess advanced technology that renders them invulnerable. They take a second Gaia backup while Aloy barely escapes and passes out when Varl manages to find her. Aloy awakens days later in the village of Plainsong, home to the Otaru tribe. Zoe, a member of the Otaru, guides Aloy to a control center where she rejoins Gaia to her subsystem, Minerva. Gaia locates the other subsystems, Aether, Demeter, and Poseidon, and advises Aloy to retrieve them before attempting to capture the more advanced Hephaestus. Gaia reveals that the extinction signal that triggered Hades and mutated the subsystems originated from the Cyrus system. Aloy suspects that the futuristic humans sent it. She later tracks down Beta, who informs Aloy that her group is, in fact, Far Zenith, an organization of billionaire colonists who fled Earth during its global extinction, having managed to extend their natural lifespans. After their colony on Sirius collapsed, the Zeniths returned to Earth to use Gaia through Beta's genetic makeup for their own recolonization. They also acquired subsystems Eleuthia, Artemis, and Apollo, but Beta has stolen their Gaia backup. Aloy recovers Aether after helping Hikaru advance in the Civil War and retrieves Poseidon from the ruins of Las Vegas. She also recruits one of Hikaru's marshals, Kotalo, and joins her cause and work alongside Varl, Zoe, and Oseram tribes and the Oseram tribesman errand. Journeying to San Francisco region, she encounters the Quen, a foreign tribe attempting to solve the ecological crises in their homeland. Aloy helps tribe mentor Alva acquire data while recovering Demeter. After obtaining a high-level clearance from the private bunker-turned-tomb of the grotesquely mutated Ted Faro before burning it down, Aloy recruits Alva for her mission, then later devises a plan to help Gaia trap Hephaestus. Aloy travels with Varl and Beta to an inactive Coltrane to carry out their plan, but they are attacked by the Zeniths. Eric kills Varl and recaptures Beta, while Gerard steals Gaia, but Tilda double-crosses them and helps Aloy escape. Tilda explains that she was romantically involved with Elizabeth Sobek and regretted her leaving. Having been inspired by Aloy, she wishes to stop Far Zenith. She further reveals that Xylens has been supporting the Tallneck rebels to use them against the Zeniths. Aloy refuses to sacrifice the Tallneck and instead defeats Regala herself after thwarting the latter's final attack on Hikaru. She then convinces Tilda and Xylens to reconvene at her base to formulate a plan. Aloy and her companions assault Far Zenith's base, while Beta releases Hephaestus into the Zenith's network, and it builds a near-endless amount of machines that tie down Far Zenith's army of drones. Xylens disables the Zenith's personal defenses, causing many of them to be killed by the rampaging machines. Aloy and Zoe confront Eric and kill him to avenge Varl, while Tilda kills Gerard. Aloy and Beta learn that the Far Zenith colony was destroyed by Nemesis, a failed mind-uploading experiment they created. The Zeniths fled from Nemesis and hoped to steal Gaia to colonize a new planet. Nemesis also sent the extinction signal to Earth and is en route to destroy the planet. Tilda tries to force Aloy to abandon Earth with her, but Aloy refuses and is forced to kill Tilda. Xylens reveals that Hades told him about Nemesis and also plans to escape Earth, but has a change of heart and decides to aid Aloy against a nemesis. Aloy's companions disperse to spread the warning of Nemesis while Aloy and Beta reactivate Gaia. During the Burning Shores expansion pack, sometime after the defeat of Far Zenith, Silence warns Aloy that one Zenith member, aerospace magnate Walter Landra, remains unaccounted for. The last known sighting of Landra places him at a location to the south called the Burning Shores, the former site of Los Angeles. Upon arriving in the Burning Shores, Aloy meets a soldier of the Quen tribe, Saika. Saika agrees to guide Aloy to Landra's hideout on Starlight Rise, in return for helping her disable a Zenith defense tower. Saika? Not sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. Saika takes Aloy to her settlement, Fleet's End, explaining that her fleet was separated from the main Quen expedition heading to San Francisco, shipwrecked on the Burning Shores, and has been stranded since. It is revealed that Saika stole a deceased diviner's focus and found a clue that some of the crew members who had gone missing were located at Starlight Rise, the Griffith Observatory. Admiral Garrett allows Aloy and Saika to pursue this lead, since one of the missing crew members is Saika's sister, Kina, and the fleet's last remaining navigator. Working together, Aloy and Saika destroy the tower and make their way to Starlight Rise. Upon reaching it, they discover signs that Landra has captured the missing Quen crew and has been forcing them to excavate his old headquarters. They find evidence of him retrieving data on a project called MSP, and follow his trail north to the wreckage of the Horus war machine resting near the Hollywood sign. They come across a Quen camp, and are dismayed to see that the missing Quen crew has willingly joined Landra, worshipping him as a god who promises them ascension. They infiltrate Landra's Ascension Hall and discover that he is using the Horus to build a rocket that can take him off-planet. However, in order to get the lift he needs, Landra salvaged experimental nuclear booster engines from Starlight Rise, but the use of them would irradiate the entire Burning Shores and the surrounding lands. After eliminating Landra's henchman, Zeth, they learn he has taken a small number of his most loyal Quen, including Kina, to a nearby abandoned amusement park in preparation for their journey. Aloy and Saika infiltrate the park and make contact with Landra's personal AI, Nova. Nova explains that Landra intends to use his rocket to take himself, a selected few Quen, and a genetic library collected from his Quen followers to found a new colony away from the threat that is Nemesis. However, to ensure that his followers will not betray him, Landra reactivated his mutiny suppression protocol research, using it to brainwash Quen into being his loyal followers. Nova then deactivates Landra's security measures in return for Aloy deleting her, so she can finally be free from Landra's constant tweaking of her personality matrix. They enter Landra's inner sanctum, where they find him ready to seduce Kina. Saika then intervenes, forcing Landra to flee back to his bunker underneath the Hollywood sign. Landra activates the Horus and uses it to attack Aloy and Saika, who sabotage its cooling system to weaken it and open a breach in the hull. Aloy then infiltrates the Horus and kills Landra. In the aftermath, Aloy sends all of the data from Landra's In the aftermath, Aloy sends all of the data from Londra's focus to Silence and help the Quen in Fleet's End to make contact with Alva so they can coordinate on reuniting their fleets. Aloy also has the option of starting a romantic relationship with Seika before temporarily parting ways. Upon returning to her base, Aloy meets with Silence, who managed to decrypt some of Londra's data, finding a list of 21st century companies that were developing experimental weaponry that may be the key to defeating Nemesis. Alright. During gameplay design, one of the team's biggest goals was to reproduce the magic of the original game. As with the original game, the team identified three main pillars for development: having strong and memorable characters, exploration emphasizing the majesty of nature and ancient ruins, and clever combat, which encourages strategic planning. As Aloy journeys into the Forbidden West, the team wanted to ensure that there is always a mystery for her to unravel, and always more for her to explore. As a result, underwater and aerial exploration were added to the game, though the development of both were noted to be challenging from a technical perspective. Quest designer Samantha Shunan described underwater exploration as natural extension to traverse long, lost, unknown places. The team intentionally avoided the oppressive tone typically found in underwater levels in other video games and instead focused on fast and agile traversal and stealthy gameplay. The gameplay was designed to promote the player's choices. For instance, new tools were introduced to aid transversal and exploration, as well as provide multiple ways to solve environmental puzzles. Various playstyles were supported, enabling players to choose how they engage with enemies and switch between playstyles at will. And skill trees were also overhauled completely. Cauldrons returned from Zero Dawn, though their designs are more varied to upset the player's expectations. Some cauldrons were also tied to larger and more extensive set pieces. The gameplay team identified Aloy as a smart, fast, agile, precise, and resourceful character, and had to translate between those personal qualities into gameplay mechanics. Melee and ranged combat were more interweaved together, with valor surges such as Resonator Blast, allowing players to quickly change from melee to ranged combat. The team introduced more varied and variety to human enemies, such as armored enemies. Their artificial intelligence was also designed to be more aggressive. Whereas in Zero Dawn, human and machine enemies were two disparate groups. Forbidden West integrates the two together by having Aloy fight against human enemies, commandeering machines. A number of new machines were introduced into Forbidden West, including the Sunwing, inspired by flying reptiles and primitive birds, and the Tremor Tusk, inspired by mammoth and war elephants. Zero Dawn establishes the machines in the game as caretakers of the world, and the team programmed each machine type to exhibit behaviors that will match their roles in an ecosystem. Additional textures were added to each machine so that the player could better identify their weak points visually, and more audio cues were introduced to better signal their actions to the player. Machine hunting is more Machine hunting is more vital in Forbidden West as it became a more integral part of crafting. The world in Forbidden West is slightly larger than that of Zero Dawn, though the studio focused on increasing the world's density to capture that it was filled with content. NPCs encountered in side quests may reappear as the player progresses further, and the team rewarded players more handsomely with side quests and tied them to the overarching narrative, so completing them felt more worthwhile. After evaluating player feedback on Zero Dawn, the team decided to make each settlement more dynamic by introducing a general sense of them being more lifelike, with improved animations and better NPC AI patterns and schedules. An improved crowd system was introduced, with a more diverse range of audio so that each area within a settlement will sound different. As Aloy heads west, she will encounter members of different tribes. According to the team, the Asaram are a social and historically patriarchal, and the Otaru are agrarian and more laid back in nature, while the Tallneck are more militant and combat focused. The team created various animations and outfits distinct to each tribe, highlighting the differences in their ways of life. It also allowed the player to identify tribe members from far away visually and enabled them to get a bearing of where they are in the world. As far as the characters go, Aloy returned as the game's protagonist in Forbidden West, and she had to deal with another catastrophic extinction level event, live up to the legacy of Elizabeth Sobek, an esteemed scientist for whom she was a clone of, as depicted in Zero Dawn, and prove herself again while venturing into the Forbidden West. Writer Benjamin McCaw added that the overwhelming amount of pressure Aloy had to face was a significant part of her character arc in this game. Unlike in Zero Dawn, Guerrilla invested more resources into creating the game's cinematics. Advanced motion capture tools allowed the team to record dynamic movement and character expressions more extensively, enabling them to create character-centric scenes across main quests and side objectives, though travel restrictions during COVID-19 forced the team to recruit local talents in Amsterdam to substitute certain cast members. According to McCaw, Aloy's dynamics with other characters were difficult to write, as her unique upbringings and aspirations to live up to Sobek's legacy meant that she often pushed away her friends as she felt she had to accomplish tasks alone. In the game, Aloy had to integrate into society and learn to accept help, ultimately understanding that instead of saving the world in an abstract, it was the people in the world who were worth saving. The team spent more time developing character-driven side quests in order to deepen Aloy's relationships with them. Aloy's relationship with Beta contrasted with Aloy's own relationship with Sobek, and was described by the team as the heart and soul of the game's story, which was the most difficult part to write. According to the game's writer, Beta served as a dark reflection of Aloy and embodied all of Aloy's conflicts about wanting to be like Elizabeth, wanting to connect to others but feeling isolated. Far Zeniths were an important part of the story, and their role was known to the team even during the development of Zero Dawn. Having long achieved self-preservation, Far Zeniths was egotistical and had little regard for the rest of human life. Tilda, one of the surviving members of Far Zenith, was created as a Dutch technologist, authentication expert. No. Authentication? Sure. Tilda, one of the surviving members of the Far Zenith, was created as a Dutch technologist, authentication expert, and art collector. And the team collaborated with the Rijksmuseum to collect 10 art pieces and recreate them inside of Tilda's mansion in the game. Ted Faro, the billionaire who doomed the world in Zero Dawn, returned in Forbidden West. According to McCaw, he had become a human cancer, a massive cancerous growth, due to the unnatural techniques used to expand his lifespan. The team made an intentional decision not to show Pharaoh's face because Forbidden West was not intended to be a horror game, and the team felt that by only showing his silhouette, it left room for players to imagine what he would have looked like, making the encounter more frightening. As with the previous game, Silence and Aloy shared an adversarial relationship, but the two will learn to collaborate despite their mutual disdain for each other. Okay. So as you can see in my gameplay, I actually am the one playing the game here, and I am not the best gamer on the planet by far, but I do enjoy really experiencing my environments that I am in. I'm a little bit of a completionist, but I do understand where it is time to move on. So you will see me fall a few times, but I will try and attempt different ways of completing certain tasks in the game. I don't have anything else. During this build of the Horizon Tallneck, this is my first recorded build. So my setup is not the best by far. I only used this setup during this particular build. I found that the headband and cap method for the GoPro was actually kind of painful for lengthy periods of time. It did press on my forehead quite a bit, and even though I tried to put some cushion in between the camera and my forehead, it still put a little bit too much pressure over lengthy amounts of time. So I will be changing that even in the course of making this video. I also did change this setup as well. The lighting situation I felt was not very ideal. Particularly, you can see the sunlight streaking in, and then I have to switch to my overheads during the evenings. So there will be some differences that you will notice in this. Again, you'll have to forgive me. This is my first recorded build. This is not a first build, is also something I should mention. There will be other builds in future that are first builds of the sets. However, this one I had built and we moved, so I took everything apart and put it in Ziploc bags and then put a lot of them, after I categorized them, into containers in order for the ease of shipping. So I had to put everything back in some semblance of order in order to do this rebuild, which again, I found that this particular system was not extremely effective. So you will see a lot of jumps and cuts because there were points in time where I'm just searching for a piece and might not be able to locate it very easily. So there's a lot of dead time in here that will be cut out. So during these builds, I am testing out different methods for some of my older builds, rebuilding, organizing the pieces better so that I can more effectively find what I'm looking for. As well as just arranging things around me in a more effective way. You will also see that I think at one point in here, I do change exactly where I'm sitting. I move from one side of the table to the next, just so that I'm not distracted by what's going on well, right now it's in front of me, but it will be behind me later on in this build. And then moving on from there. Some information about the Tallnecks according to the games. The Tallneck is a communications class machine in Horizon Zero Dawn, the only known machine of its class at present, though this was changed in Horizon Forbidden West to a recon class machine. They are the only machine not hostile to humans. If Aloy climbs to the disk and overrides it, she will gain a map of the area. The Tallnecks were designed to enable long-range communications between machines. The Tallnecks were the only machines unaffected by the derangement, presumably because their durability and lack of external perception. The Tallnecks resemble a giraffe in both silhouette and gait. They have no visible optical sensors, and their heads are broad discs with data node on the top center that can be used as an access point for overriding. Their chassis are covered by heavy armor plating and an energy shield. Several long antennae-like platforms project from the back of the neck, and 4 tail-like structures are mounted in pairs in the posterior. Their feet have 10 toes in the front and 3 in the back. On their backs, there are 2 power converters. Tallnecks are completely solitary, walking in predefined loop with its particular region, functioning as communication center for other machines. The signal emitted by Tallnecks can be detected by a focus, which can be used to locate them. Tallnecks are completely oblivious to their surroundings, and as such are not hostile to humans. While a Tallneck itself is harmless to humans, unless the human wanders into their path and gets trampled, the hostile enemies will frequently be in the area around the path. Tallnecks send information on everything they observe along their path to other machines in the areas. Overriding one will reveal that portion of the map, along with settlements, campfires, and machine sites. An overridden Tallneck will also release an electrical pulse, damaging, stunning, and/or destroying any enemies within range. Tallnecks have an unmatched durability. They are impervious to any damage from Aloy, and are still capable of functioning even after decades of dormancy. On the off chance that a Tallneck is damaged, other machines will come to its defense, as seen with an Oseram crew that attempted to kill one with a ballista. Tallnecks can be repaired by being rebooted and overridden, such as the Still Sands Tallneck that had several energy shield breaches in its chassis that were corrected by Aloy. They also monitor the weather, as evidenced in the Frost Figures Tallneck data point. The body Has a hard outer casing to protect synthetic muscle and operational systems. Information antennas could be used as climbing holds when scaling. The Radar Information Storage Hub. Override to access the local information. Although multiple tallnecks are shown in the embrace at the start of the game, given their otherwise solitary nature, and that there is no other evidence of them traveling together, it seems that their appearance in this scene is non-canon and only intended to showcase the prominent machines of the game. There are a total of 12 tallnecks in the original game. 2 of the inactive 6 are found in Cauldron 11. Is that 9? XI. The 3rd is found in the Eclipse Camp. The 4th is found in the Cut. 2 are found outside the Stone Yield Bandit Camp, completely rusted, and the last one is found inside the Cauldron Epsilon, in the process of being melted down for material. The Saltbite Tallneck was initially still under construction within Cauldron Iota when Aloy first found it, with the construction stalled by a series of malfunctions. When completed, the Tallneck resumed its activity. Tallnecks were one of the first machines revealed to the public, seen as early as the conceptual stages of the game's design, and unlike the Thunderjaw, they saw very little change. During the game's development, tallnecks were referred to as calm giraffes. In the tallneck's walking pattern of lifting both its fore and hind legs on the same side at the same time is based on a giraffe's gait. Given the tallneck's size, such a gait is physically impossible in real life. Tallnecks were originally designed to be killable. However, Guerrilla Games decided against this, feeling that it would be against Aloy's character to kill such a peaceful machine. In addition, Aloy is noticeably kind to the Tallnecks, frequently referring to the machines as buddy or big guy. She also apologizes if it appears distressed when injured or being overridden. And that about does it for our build today. We're going to straighten up our last bits like this tree here, add Aloy to the platform, as well as our watcher underneath the traffic light. Our total time was roughly 2 hours and 19 minutes. There you have it. And thank you for watching the first ever episode of Let's Build. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, follow, do all the things for the YouTubes. See you next time.